Welcome to Life Off-Grid in the spring. This is Dylan here. You may remember me from such videos as living off-grid 10 years later and such. Just going back the driveway, give you guys an update on what it's like this spring. It's been a really rough winter. You can still see big snowbanks everywhere, but we can at least get back the driveway now. I forgot what I was going to say right off the bat, but I usually do that. Yeah, it's been quite the off-grid winter, that's for sure. Oddly enough, it's been one of our best. It's been a hard winter, but the property's been pretty good. Now, we couldn't get up this driveway till a week ago, so you can imagine how much more snow there was, and if you don't want to imagine, just check out some of my older videos. You can see actually how much snow we have. You can see up there my my 3 panels on my camp. The big one's 100 water. The 2 smaller ones are 15 watt ones. One from Canadian Tire and one from Walmart. Actually, that one's from Canadian Tire, that one's from Walmart. The Walmart one's amorphous panel, whereas the other one's just a regular thin film, which may or may not work so good. We're actually getting a little wind today. Windmill's turning, not enough to generate any power though. And Dad's panels are in full sun, because these trees don't affect it. And I have a little more to talk about those trees in the future. If you're not up to date on my videos, I do have the tractor running again. One of my last off-grid videos there, I showed it with the tire off. I managed to do it all myself, get the tire back on, or get another tire on there, and all that, and she works again, and that's the only reason I can get up this driveway right now, because otherwise there'd probably still be snow on it. So, spring off-grid is a beautiful thing, though it unleashes some of the damages. You can see down here somewhere. I can't see my viewfinder so well here. Yeah, right there. The old sauna roof caved in. It was already caving in, but the excessive snow load really caved it in. My dad's roof has still got a little sag to it. It's not as bad as it was with the snow on there, but you can tell that it definitely suffered a little from the snow load. You can see there's seeds and stuff all over. Dad threw out a bunch of old seeds and that for the birds. But as quick as the snow recedes, life comes back. This is actually one of the gardens, and you can see little green shoots of garlic. This Dad's garlic growing already. The snow's barely melted off it, and it's growing right through it. Of course, this video is going to cut off probably before I get finished, but I'll just have to add some more. This is just the dog's buoy. But yeah, having a tractor like this is a great thing in a place like this. I was able to actually dig over here and dig up a tree out of the snow, which was good because we were getting low on wood. But so now it's getting to the time of year. We won't need too much more wood, hopefully. Hopefully the wind here isn't making my video hard to hear. I can't really tell at this point. Wow, dirt's got to be cleaned up. This is a little flower garden here. Nothing growing there yet. The haskap, I don't know if you've ever heard of a haskap berry, but Dad dug those out. Now they're completely out of the ground now, or out of the snow rather. There's one. The other one there. They probably had a hard time this winter, but we'll see if they come back. You can see there's a lot of green starting to already show, a little right around the snowbanks. You know, even the grass is starting to grow. But these trees here, on my off-grid 10 years later video, or 10 years later tiny home video, the one that I get all the views on, I have a lot of people say, you know, oh, don't cut these trees down, don't cut these trees down. Well, there's big plans here. It's not just cutting them down to allow light for the panels, because that's only really if Sorry about the wind. But that only happens for a couple weeks out of the year, so it'd be kind of silly to cut down a couple trees for that. But if you look at these trees, they're tiny little spindles. Like this one right here is just a tiny little spindle with a sprig on the top. And they're all like that because it was a thicket that was left to grow up. And the problem is none of these trees, they'll just get too big and then fall over. It'll just be a mess. And a lot of this forest around us is already like that because it hasn't been managed. That's why we're going to cut it, not all of it, not every single tree. We are leaving the hardwoods. For the most part, there are a couple hardwoods that will have to go, but that's because we're restructuring the driveway to come up at a different angle. Right now you got to turn and come up. We want to put an angle down that way so it's not so much of a turn coming up the driveway. If you've ever driven this driveway in the winter, you totally understand and sympathize. But yeah, I mean, we're not cutting these down just to cut down trees, which some people seem to get the idea that's what we're doing. Again, sorry about the wind. My camera, or camcorder, is only so good, so I can't prevent everything. This is the what's left of the wood. That's what's left of a chopping block. And then, is there anything left in here? Yeah, that's all that's left. And that was actually after Dad going out and chopping a few trees down. But he's already got his garden planted in here. I don't think anything's sprouting as of yet, but he has this little kind of cold frame rig, which does work. The ground you can see is even dry under there, which is a bonus. Don't know if you noticed when I was getting out, we do have the 100-pound tank hooked up now. If you're wondering why that bag's on there, it's because there's a regulator under there, and we just don't want to frig with it, because if you touch the regulator, it's out of whack, and then the fridge either shuts off or whatever. Anyways, those are some extra tanks. These extra tanks, well, one's an extra, the other one's for the stove. Actually, it's been a pretty good winter for that as far as propane goes. Haven't used a huge amount of it. Haven't used it for heating. Just cooking and refrigeration. Up there's the panel for the circulating pump. I don't know, I think I showed that before. But that circulates the water from the hot water panel. Hot water solar there. And the hot water jacket in the house. And quite amazingly enough, this light here is still working. It's the only one that's still working. These ones have crapped out completely and don't seem to be working at all. We're going to have to get into those and see what's going on. Hopefully, I'm supposed to be getting an LED light or two to do some reviews on, and if I do, they'll be going here, and they're actually more like real LED floodlights, not these little solar ding-dong jobs. So hopefully if I get one of those, I'll be able to mount that, and we'll actually have something that casts a little light out here, because these things aren't the brightest even at the best of times. But the old house fared well throughout the winter. I mean, it was a rough winter. A lot of places around here actually collapsed. You can see actually down there the cap fell off the truck because of the weight of the snow on the cap, buckled the sides in. So that shows how bad it was just here. But other than that, solar power, we've been doing great this year. Haven't used the generator since Christmas, or it was Christmas Eve, I think we fired the generator up. And that's because the batteries were still low. But once everything got tightened in it, hey, psst, out of there, out of there. Dog's in the garden. That could be a problem sometimes. He doesn't know. But he's a good boy. But yeah, our solar has been really well, acting really well. We didn't need the generator all winter, and we went through the worst stretch of the winter without it, and haven't had a problem. The power's actually never gotten low enough that we've had to turn the system off, which is the first winter ever that's happened. So that's a really big bonus. It makes a big difference too, because it's a real pain in the ass having to shut everything off. And I can remember quite a few times where we actually shut the whole place down, and we're sitting there by candlelight at like 8 o'clock at night, and well, that can be a pain in the ass when you're trying to do stuff or go online or use anything that uses power. The only other option would be to fire up the generator, and that makes a lot of racket and burns gas, which costs money. So it's good to see that this 10-year-old gear can still do the trick, and actually is doing it better than it ever has. Mind you, straight-up batteries, or Rolls batteries as they're also called, are among the best. I'm going to continue this video in a little bit. I'm going to have to take a break here and charge my camera a little bit. Just thought I'd give you a shot of the generator shed again. The generator that never runs now. She's full of fuel because she doesn't run. And there's where my 100-watt panel plugs into his system. As you see, we just put in a handy dandy extension cord end and wired it into his panels, and it definitely makes a difference. We don't know how much because we haven't spent a lot of time trying to figure out the exact differences yet, but because everything's working, it's hard to spend a lot of time trying to figure out why. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? What a beautiful day out there it is. The optimistic thermometer is being optimistic, but it probably is around 10 degrees or so Celsius, closer to about 55, 50 Fahrenheit. The dog's just loving the sun. He doesn't seem to care as long as he's up in the sun. Anyways, I'll give you an update in here. As you see, it's actually a little cleaner than my last videos. A little spring cleaning. The wood stove, I guess I'll start with that, performed extremely well. Sorry for the light, my camera doesn't want to adjust very well to it. Let's see if I can help the matters here. Anyways, the wood stove performed great. Didn't really have any problems with it whatsoever. The only issue we had all winter was this section of pipe gave out, and almost had a chimney fire, and that wasn't, well, an out of chimney fire rather, which isn't good. So make sure you have a fire extinguisher. If you don't, it's definitely a good thing to have, because the last thing you want is a place like this going up in smoke after you spent as long as my father has. And actually, though I've called the other videos off-grid life 10 years later, it's actually been closer to 15-20 that he's been living here at least 15 years, because he was here long before the power was even hooked up full time. Well, he wasn't here, I don't think, full time till the power was hooked up, I guess. But we've still spent a lot of time here. But yeah, that's a really good little wood stove. You don't need much bigger than anything like this in a little camp like this. Well, not camp, a tiny home. I call it camp because it's small, and that's what we call small buildings around here that people live in, or whatever. Also, we haven't got into the water jacket yet, but we're going to flip that over. And somebody suggested plaster of Paris, but I don't know how well that transfers heat. We might just coat the back in thermal paste, even though it's ribbed. It's already producing enough heat to warm this up that way, so just flipping it over should make a huge difference. You may hear a motor spooling up and down. That's that sound there. That is part of the hot water system, which right now we should have a thermometer on this, but it's actually warm. The heat exchanger and the rest of the system's in behind the wood pile where you can't see. Now, I got a lot of flack for the house being dirty when I did my first video on this. Well, I'll be honest with you, it's quite difficult if you plan on living off-grid not to have a bit of a mess. Especially because you're always doing something. You don't get bored when you live off-grid because things break and stuff happens and weather happens, and there's always stuff to do. So, to some people that's unacceptable, and they got to be super clean, and that's their prerogative. But for people like that, living off grid is a huge challenge. It's, you know, you can definitely live it a little cleaner than we do, that's for sure. But at the same time, you know, we spend more time doing other things, expanding our property and projects, and, you know, doing all kinds of different things. So everybody's different, and, you know, to each their own. I appreciate the comments either way, to be honest. But, you know, it's not what these videos are about, you know. I mean, obviously cleanliness is important, and to some people more than others, but that's not what these videos are about. These videos are about living off grid and what it's like, and what, you know, how not to do things, and sometimes even how to do them. Here's some of my dad's carvings, by the way. That's one of the reasons why there's so much wood and wood chips all through the house all the time. It's because Dad's always carving. Here's another carving here. And then there's a bunch of sticks there. He loves making walking sticks. There's another one there. Another one here. This is actually one of his first that he's redoing as we speak. Got the handy dandy Dremel on with the flexi shaft there, which apparently is way easier to use. Yeah, the little solar light over here, I think I mentioned that before, a little solar shed light. It's actually under to light up under the counter there right now, but it is removable. It's a great little investment. The light lasts about 2 hours, and it's bright enough to power or brighten up a room enough that you can see and do stuff, which I've used it for in the past. We've had it a few years. It's lasted quite well. I'm not sure what brand it is, but let's see if I can grab the light for you. Yeah, here's what the light looks like. And it's just got a little, it's got the plug in there, just a little switch there, and I don't know, I think clusters of 4 LEDs. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 clusters of 4 LEDs or something like that. It's not super bright, but it does the trick. It's great for under the counter for lighting that up because it's hard to see down there. Propane stove. It's a little dirty, but it's also rusty because it's old. But it works great. I never have a problem with it at all, actually, except it runs out of propane now and then. Had a few issues with the fridge over the winter, mostly that it froze the food, and that sometimes when you run out of propane, getting it restarted can be a pain, but most of that's just problems with the regulators we got, so you know, that can be expected, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. You know, again, that's part of one of the sacrifices for off-grid, is always having a fridge is tricky at times. One of our projects coming up soon. See, I can film for a long time not going anywhere. But if you can see this tree that has all the bark removed here. See, all that bark is missing in sections. And like, look at that tree, it's all gray. This one, it's been all stripped of its bark. Obviously there's some kind of a porcupine hanging out there that's eating that tree. Unfortunately, it's a hardwood, a nice big beech tree, but they stripped it bare, so that tree isn't gonna live, and we're gonna need firewood, so that tree's coming down. That's another thing about all the trees we cut down. You know, we're gonna be using them all for firewood, so what we don't use for firewood and sell or give away is firewood. But there's a few trees here that gotta come down. Mostly just to get some more wind to the windmill and clean up the area. There's a lot of spruce trees. I mean, give it 5 years and it all starts clustering like this. You get clumps, and these trees grow fast. You know, some of these little trees are only a couple years old, little guys like this, and it don't take long before you get a huge cluster of them. And it's a big mess. And then you got to do a lot of cutting to try to get it back. As you see, we also have speakers because we have a real stereo that does work, and we use it quite frequently. My dad, being electronics tech, likes the vintage stereo, and he's got a turntable there. And we use this a lot too, this ghetto blaster, just because it's easier and it doesn't draw a dick for power. So you know, we might as well use that. I think I mentioned before, but our lights are all LEDs. Oh, sorry, not all. That one's a fluorescent, but those guys are LEDs. Actually had one burn out the other night here in the bathroom. I think that one's burned out now, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, that is a problem with a lot of the modern stuff that you buy, though. The theory in LED lights, they should last 10-20 years. The reality is they don't usually. You're lucky to get 5, if that, which is ridiculous, but you know, that's the way the world works right now. So you gotta kind of expect that kind of thing, and expect the worst, hope for the best, and then it works out better. But I was mentioning before, we are working on getting some outdoor LED lights geared up, proper LED lights, not these little rinky-dink solar ones. But that would be nice just to light it up at night. Might even be able to get more videos then too. Otherwise inside, it's pretty much the same. Big old mess it usually is. You can see here the charge controller, we're in the flashing green. That's the only way we know right now. I will hook the computer up here. I don't know if you can see that USB cord right there. That silvery cord. That's actually plugged into the controller right now. And if we plug Dad's computer into it, we can find out real time what's going on there. But we don't have his computer here right now, so I can't show you. And it's not overly exciting, but I do have to get a reading when we're getting full sun. We actually only checked it in moderate sun, so it'd be interesting to see how much better that my panel. Sorry about the extra zoom. About the difference on how much my panel adds to the system, and you know, there is a bit of line loss, obviously, with the extension cord running all the way over to the house, but I wouldn't expect it to be too huge, but you never know. It is what it is, that's for sure. It's better than nothing, and the more power we can get, the better. It's nice to see everything thawing out. Not quite time for gardening yet, that's for sure, but getting close. Getting close. Gonna be a lot of work to do this year. There always is. Soon these trees are gonna have to come down because they're too close to the house, and we've been thinking that for a few years now, but just trying to clear some of the trees away from the house and anything that we don't want it to land on, because these trees fall over a lot because they're tall and spindly. And this was an old forest lot, or wood lot rather, and as a wood lot, it's been cut. You know, this area was settled near 300 years ago, so it's been cut God knows how many times. And the most recent time we know is about 35 years ago, maybe 40 years ago now. Anyways, because of that, and it never been managed at all, the trees are just screwed. Basically, they're all spindly and not growing very well. You know, in time, of course, the forest will weed itself out, but that takes a couple hundred years, and well, the forestry here don't wait. And you know, you think that, you know, we're in the middle of the woods here, and we are, but right over there, you might notice that it seems kind of lighter. There's actually a clear cut right there, like 200-300 feet over, so you know, it's not far away. But half of that's growing up again. It's been a few years. The old trailer's seen better days. That's gonna get cleaned up this year. I'm gonna, well, first I'm gonna attack it with the tractor for fun, make a good video out of it, and then I'll just peel off whatever's good up for aluminums and copper and that, and scrap all that. Whatever, there's some plywood there that might be savable. I'm not sure. I'm going to have a look, see what's savable, save anything I can. Some of those windows aren't that bad. Could be used for a shed or something. You know, save some of that stuff, but for the most part, most of it's just going to go. Whatever's left, you know, throw out and burn what we can. So, you know, not too much garbage, but there's going to be some. These things are a mess to clean up. I've seen torn apart ones before. I've never actually done it, but my friends have warned me not to. But the old camp needs a little work here. I'm going to have to get up this summer and fix those sections of the tar paper there and put up some more laths. Obviously I didn't have quite enough, and she peeled off, but it's just tar paper, it's no biggie. Somebody mentioned stuccoing the place, which isn't a horrible idea. It is, though it's big. I mean, we got 26 feet from that corner up to that corner, so that's a lot of surface area right there to cover, and you know, all the way around. It's not going to be cheap, I don't think, whatever I do. I've been looking, though, if I could find the right big house that was stripping their siding off, I might be able to, you know, find enough that way, but otherwise I'm not sure. Geez, that's a weird mark, isn't it? Looks like a blood stain. Weird. You never know. I know it's not blood, but never know what this stuff can be. Now I'll take you into my camp, the Too Tall Tiny Home, I called it, in one of my last videos. I got these batteries, I gotta go up on the charge, but as you see, my wiring here is just a fucking mess. I gotta sort this out over here, and well, I gotta clean up all the styrofoam and everything too. I have a lot of work to do in here, but I'm gonna put I forgot to show it, but I got a charge controller, a new charge controller for here that I'm gonna be reviewing. Actually, I'll be doing an installation video shortly, and there is an unboxing video as well on my channel of it. But it's a Morningstar 15 amp MPPT controller, which I'm really stoked about. But you can see I actually have a little fuse block there and fuses in it, and I had it wired up. This was my main turn off and shut off switch, and I had actually a car stereo and speakers, and there's a 12 volt light here, and there's a 12 volt light upstairs, and there's actually another 12 volt light that I never hooked up, but I never actually, well, I used it for a while, but then I insulated and vapor barriered, and things have changed, and, you know, times change, so the system changes. I ended up putting the batteries and whatnot all up here, which I think was a bad idea. Oh geez, look at the flies on the window. I don't know what it is with this place and flies. Nobody's in here for a month or two, and there's still flies everywhere. But yeah, up here's my... just buzzed me. Holy frick, there's a lot of flies over there. Anyways, this is where my wires come in for my panels. Here's the 3 different panel wires right here. These 2 are the 15 waters. This is the 100 water. Just trying to see here if everything's hooked up proper. Yeah, it is. But yeah, I've had my tractor battery on charge for a few days, and this 30 amp panels, or 30 amps of panels, still, this has been about a week, and we've got a lot of sun this week. She's still charging, but this thing says it's a 7 amp 105 watt charge controller, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's a Sunforce, or a Blue Planet, sorry. Well, it weighs nothing, it has no heat sink, and if you look at these wires, they're pretty chintzy. I don't know how you'd get a lot of power through them. You know, not a lot of amps, that's for sure. But I also have this inverter here. Works alright, a little 400 watt. It's good enough to power the lights and such in here. This here's another light I salvaged out of the trailer. It's dual purpose, 120 volt and 12 volt. Which actually has a great bonus if, you know, depending on how you set up your system. But I like to have the dual purpose system because 12 volt is more efficient and I don't need an inverter which draws more power, but you got to be careful with 12 volt because if you don't have protection you'll drain your battery down to nothing with it. But, oh my god, it's the Lord of the Flies in here. It's kind of creepy. You guys can't even see them all, but well, here, look at these ones. It's a lot of flies. A lot of flies. Kind of freaky. I usually let them out. I'll try to, but when there's this many I don't like reaching down in there. Who wants to reach in a handful of flies? They're mostly alive too. I don't think any are really dead. Which is weird because I'll come back here tonight and there won't be one. I just saw a fly mount a fly. Well, you have a first for everything. Anyways, this has just been more of an update than anything. I still plan on making the off-grid life videos with my father. Just this winter's been killer, and we haven't really been able to get out of the house, even down to here, to do a video in the longest time. So, or even get up and down the driveway. So, snow clearing and wood was the priority. And now that we're getting out of that season, finally, I can do some more videos. So thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out my other videos on my channel there. I have an off-grid playlist that shows quite a few of my videos if you haven't seen them already. I do have quite a few off-grid videos. Some of them explain other parts of this property in great detail. What else? Yeah, I'm just really glad that there's such a... I can't believe how many people actually watched my video and all the positive comments from it. So I really appreciate it, and so does my father. He hasn't been on camera yet for some of this, but he will be for quite a bit. I'll be filming him more than I'll be on camera for a lot of these videos in the future. But I really hope you enjoy them, and if you can, you know, hit the like button, share it if you can, if you want, on your Facebook or on any other websites that relate to off-grid. I've seen actually that the last video was featured, which was kind of cool. I even got a call from a TV production company about it, so that was really amazing. But you know, I do plan to continue these videos and continue working in here as well. I haven't done much in here in the last year, so it'd be good to get off my arse and get some work done in here, and you know, work more towards the off-grid life. I do want to be able to live off-grid someday. Unfortunately, my house is going to cost a lot more than this camp does for getting it off-grid, that's for sure. But I want to get this camp off-grid too, just so I have a getaway, so to speak. You know, the power goes out, I can come here. Even though that's what I do now, and it's pretty close to that as it is. But yeah, well, I'm just overwhelmed by the nice day and all these flies. I'm gonna have to do something about that, I think. Get some kind of bug or frog in here, eat all these flies up. Anyways, everybody, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe for more. There's lots more to come. There's still some available if you haven't seen anything besides this. And I look forward to doing more videos about this and show you the future of you know, what happens here, and even tell some stories about the past, and maybe hopefully give some people some guidance that have no clue what they're doing, because that's what we are. We don't necessarily have a clue what we're doing, but we're living, and I don't sugarcoat anything, as you've probably noticed. I say how it is, and you know, if you don't like it, well, that's your problem, not mine, because this is how life is. You know, it's not the sugar-coated off-grid life. You know, I see these designer tiny homes and that. It's not the sugar-coated lifestyle a lot of them make it out to be. Unless you have a lot of money, then it might not be so bad, but if you're living poor like we do, it's not as easy. Anyways, thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. This has been Dylan, also known as Ghetto Hillbilly 1. Like I said before, feel free to check out my channel. I got lots more off-grid videos, some reviews I'm starting to do. I do everyday vlogs and all kinds of stuff. So anyways, thanks for watching, and peace and have fun. I just wanted to mention this is the charge controller I'm going to be hooking up in my camp. It's a Morningstar Sunsaver MPPT SS MPPT 15L. Very excited. Obviously that Blue Planet one has nothing on this. This thing's heavy and it's a heatsink, so it's going to make a big difference, I think. And if you were wondering, if you saw this and you were wondering what it is, this is the dash for the old tractor out there that we were restoring. Anyways, I just wanted to throw those in there in case anybody was wondering.